Hello, everybody. My name is Grace, and today I'm going to read the next two chapters of this book. Chapter 7, War and Peace. Some artists work on one idea in one style, but Picasso changed it all the time. Picasso's paintings reflected what was going on in his personal life, as well as what was happening in the outside world. In 1936, the Spanish Civil War broke out. Picasso was living in Paris, yet he was deeply affected by the war in Spain. He was a Spaniard after all. In Spain, a Republican government had been elected, but it was overthrown by General Francisco Franco and his forces. Franco was a dictator and ruled Spain until his death in 1975. Because of Franco, Picasso never returned to his native country. In April, in April 1937, the town of Guernica in northeast Spain was bombed by the Germans, who were helping Franco and his men. Guernica was not far from where Picasso grew up. The bombs fell on the market day. More than 1,600 people, men, women, and children, were killed. Almost 900 more were injured. There was no military reason for the attack. Picasso was outraged by the murder of all these innocent people. With all his passion, he painted a huge 12-foot high by 26-foot long painting called Guernica. It is his most famous painting. He finished it in just 3 weeks. His new girlfriend, Dora, took many photographs of him working on it. In gray tones, the painting shows a screaming horse, a fallen soldier, a screaming woman on fire falling from a burning house, a mother holding her baby. There's a cut off arm holding a sword and a severed head. There is spilled image and chaos, which may symbolize the hope of overcoming Franco. Guernica is a very strong and disturbing portrayal of horrors of war. When he asked to explain the painting, Picasso said, "It isn't up to the painters to define the symbols. Otherwise, it would be better if he wrote them out in so many words." Then, in 1939, World War II started after the German army invaded Poland. Fearing bombings, museums in Paris closed down. Much of the art was moved and hidden in the countryside. Many artists fled the city. So did Picasso with his family. They moved to Royan, a small town in France on the Atlantic coast. In 1940, the Germans occupied Paris. Picasso decided to move back to his studio there. Why? Perhaps Picasso hoped his presence would be a proud symbol to the French defenders and freedom. It was hard to get food, so sometimes Picasso painted pictures of sausages and leeks. Art supplies were also scarce. Even so, Picasso managed to paint every day. He also wrote a play. The Nazis did not approve any of his work. But that didn't stop Picasso. Picasso's love for Dora was fading. He met a young artist, Francois Billiard, and began a 10-year-long romance with her. In 1944, the Nazis were finally driven out of Paris. Picasso kept on painting. He sang loudly while he worked on to drown the sounds of the gunfire. As soon as the Germans were gone, Paris had a party. The city was free again. The war was almost over. American soldiers poured into Paris. Some said the two things they most wanted were to see the Eiffel Tower and meet Picasso. Picasso was pleased to give tours of his studio. Everyone was welcome. Some soldiers arrived so tired they fell asleep there. Once, someone counted 20 sleeping men in the studio. The Second World War lasted 6 years. Picasso had now lived through 3 wars. He knew how important it was to work for peace. In 1948, he went to Peace Congress in Portland. The following year, he made a poster of a dove for the Peace Congress. Because of Picasso, the dove has become a symbol for peace all over the world. Chapter 8, Pots and Plants. After the war, Picasso and Francos moved to the town of Villerousses in southern France. They lived in an old perfume factory with a room for a sculpture studio. The two children were born in Villerousses. A son, Claude, in 1949, and a daughter, Paloma, which means dove, in 1949. Oh, the son is 1947. Sorry. There was also a pottery factory in town. Picasso began working on the potters, making and decorating ceramics, plates, and vases. At first, he just decorated pieces made by the potters, but soon he was making pottery himself. His designs were happy and playful. At home in his studio, Picasso worked on amusing and childlike sculptures. They were made from things he found at the place, and the pieces were called found art. At a junkyard, Picasso saw a bicycle seat and handlebars lying next to each other. He welded them together. Suddenly, they looked exactly like a bull's head. For a sculpture of a woman pushing a baby carriage, Picasso used parts from a real baby carriage and cake pans. Some of the sculptures would make you laugh. For an ape, Picasso used a toy car for face, a car spring for a tail, a jug for a body, and a coffee cup handles for ears. He made a sculpture of a goat, flower pots, a basket, and palm leaves. Picasso was now a happy family man. He spent time with his children, teaching them how to swim, playing, and drawing with them. He seemed to have found peace in his life. But did it last? No. So that's all of chapter 7 and 8, and I will see you at the last chapter, chapter 9. But yeah, and I will see you next time. Bye!